Hello, fellow humans. Welcome back to Forever Unfolding, or welcome to Forever Unfolding if you are new. Hi, today we're going to be talking about my very first rave experience and how it changed my life and how it helped me grow as an individual in hopes of bringing light to the rave community and how it can be very healing and just an overall experience that is not like no other. And if you are just getting into the rave community or have experienced it but don't really see the gist of it or the hype about it, I know it really helped my life and changed the direct, ju- ju- just direct, traje- traje- trajectory of my life. Really changed the trajectory of my life, and I hope that sharing my experience you can hopefully gain some perspective to view it in a different light or just to hear a fun story time. Hopefully, you get something out of it. If you do, please like and share. I want to help as many people, and hopefully, you stay a while to join the community and unfold with me, along with all the beautiful humans along the way. But yeah, let's get into the story time. So my very first rave was in 2018. It was EDC Las Vegas, and my oldest sister, was the one who was heavily into raving. She had been attending EDC Las Vegas for the past years before 2018. I honestly don't remember when her first one was, but she was very into the rave scene, underground, and just regular clubs. Way before it became mainstream. I feel like it started to become a little bit more mainstream in 2018. 2019 really boomed it, and then COVID literally just that's when it happened after COVID. Um, but yeah, it was just honestly really special to have experienced it before it became like really mainstream, because you honestly felt the shift in the people, in the environment, and the overall vibe of the festival. Attending 2018 and then every other year after that, except for 2024. You missed out 2024, but you could definitely feel the difference. But it's totally fine because we are evolving and we are sharing this environment with other people who have not ever experienced it, who need this healing environment as well. And it's up to us, the people who already know the way the raving community guidelines basically is, we are the ones to keep it alive and share the plur vibes and educate other people. But moving along, 2018 was my very first rave, EDC Las Vegas. I was 18, and I had been telling my sister I wanted to go, and because EDC got switched from June to May, I want to say that year or the year before, 2017. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me, but they had just switched it from June to May, and it landed on my birthday weekend. So I wasn't able to go the year before because I wouldn't have been 18 yet. So 2018 was the first year I attended. I was 18, turning 19 that weekend. So my sister surprised me and told me that I would be able to go with them. It was just my sister and her boyfriend, and they had already hotels and everything ready. They found me a ticket online. They paid for it, thankfully, for my birthday. But they found the ticket online, and we had to go pick it up in LA somewhere. And my ticket, let me tell you guys, it was literally big. The original owners of the tickets had a big dog, and they had literally bit all over the box. So for EDC Las Vegas, you get a box with like a bunch of goodies and other things besides the wristband, and like a booklet, and you get a sleeve on top of the actual book that opens, and that sleeve is literally half gone, and like the spine of the box is bit from the top and bottom. And it's just so funny because I'm trying to like display my EDC boxes on like my bookshelf in my room, and it's just not it with that first one. So it's like I never went because I don't really want to display that. I just think it's funny. But I just think it's funny that my dog that a dog literally chewed my ticket. So yeah, that's always fun to tell. So we ended up going, and they already had a hotel and everything. So usually if you do hotel and Airbnb, like the traffic is bad getting in and out, especially at the times that everyone is getting there or leaving. Be prepared. Please go early. I'm going to be sharing a couple tips throughout the story time to let you guys know of any tips that I learned from my very first experience. Definitely leave early and account for the traffic if you want to make it for a certain set. So when we first arrived there, we parked, we pinned our location, and we went through the security, and my sister's boyfriend had left his phone there and he didn't get it back. So once we left the security, we realized he didn't have his phone, and we went back and it wasn't there, of course. So he lost his phone literally not even within the first hour of being at EDC Las Vegas. And when we were leaving, we tried to leave early that day so we could avoid traffic and like get some rest because it's only day one. And we left like around 4. The event ended at 6, so we left around 4:30ish, and we didn't make it home until 8 o'clock because we realized once we were walking out and getting to the parking lot that we pinpoint the location in my sister's boyfriend's phone who had just been lost. Therefore, we were looking for my sister's car for like 2 hours in the hot sun at 6 a.m. and we couldn't find it. We literally had to get like we walked so many miles after the fact. We ended up getting home like around 8:30 a.m. and that was just not fun at all because we ended up leaving at the time that everyone was leaving, even though we left early and missed some sets, and we were a little bit crispy from the sun and exhausted from walking in the dirt and dirty because it's a dirt road in the parking lot. But yeah, so that was not fun. So learn from our mistakes and definitely pinpoint your location of where you parked in everyone who's with you's phone, and also look at any determining factors around you that can help you distinguish where your car is at, in case, just in case the electronics fail for whatever reason or they get stolen, whatever. Always look at your surroundings and see where you are parked. Please, please, please learn from our mistakes. So other than that, the phone and that at the end of the night, day one was just a little bit messy, just a little bit. But it was honestly just more secondhand because this was more happening to my sister and her boyfriend. I was just kind of like third wheeling, but I was still experiencing it like secondhand. The other thing that happened was my sister's boyfriend had the party favors, the little goodies that I had never partaken in, and he was gonna give some to my sister in an open area. So in the little transition area from where you go from point A to point B, like food or like I don't remember. It's like by Daisy Lane, but if you don't know, I mean it's just a route to get from one place to another. It is open. It is not in any way like a crowd or art installation or nothing. It's just like out in the open, and he decided to give my sister the stuff there, and that is another mistake you never do because there was a undercover cop that was looking at this happen and went up to my sister's boyfriend and tried to take that away because he's an undercover cop. And they do exist. They are out there. They try to pretend like they're a regular person, but they are not. They're indeed wanting to get you in trouble. But I honestly don't see them that often, but they do exist. I have heard other stories besides that time. But yeah, so that's one thing to consider. And because he saw that this person was coming up to him and it was an undercover, he instantly dropped it. Because honestly, they do have like a vibe to them where it's like you can tell they're a little sus, they're a little sus. But thankfully, he dropped the goods and just pretended like he didn't know what he was talking about. And then the cop left, and then he was just there after looking for his little goodie bag for like 10 or 15 minutes. Thankfully, he found it. They were kicked a long way from where he had dropped them, but he found them, so that was good. But definitely find a discreet place, whether that be in the crowd or in the restroom or an art installation or somewhere that's like a little bit more private, a little bit more discreet if you want to take your goodies or hand goodies to anyone. Keep that in mind. So other than those three things, our whole weekend was like smooth sailing. It was amazing. That first experience was my first and only experience that I have ever camped at a stage, let alone at the rails. So we camped at the rails pretty much the whole weekend for main stage. We were right front and center. And let me tell you, that was a vibe. Now I'm more of like a chill in the back person, or like right middle, left middle, whatever, but still on the edge, not like in the middle. And let me tell you, that was a vibe. I'm so grateful that I got to experience that, my first experience like that, because I had never done that like any other time after that, because of the way that I was able to explore and discover new artists and want to experience like the whole festival and run around. But the very first experience, I was just camping, and you literally build a home with the people around you. You build a whole like environment, a whole vibe with like, and you make good relationships and friendships with those around you. And you get to put your bag down. You get to see the DJ front and center. You like vibe with the security guards. They sometimes give you water. The only thing that kind of sucks is going to the restroom, but it's not even that bad because you could literally walk in from the rails, like in the very front, and not have to go through like the middle of the crowd, which is kind of chaotic. But like people are constantly going in and out through like the rails because people are camping at the rails and they have to pee eventually, or go get a drink, or go get food, or whatever. But regardless, camping at the main stage was an experience that I never thought I needed. And I'm so grateful that I started that way, because I think we did go to circuit grounds for Yellow Claw and Marta Garrix. But other than that, like we were at the main stage. So we saw everyone. That's the first time I had seen Afrojack. And I loved Afrojack before I even started raving, just because my sister was always playing Afrojack and Skrillex and Martin Garrix and Vinny Vici and W and W and all of those like Big Room House and like trance, psytrance. Though that was my shit, bro. Like that was my like I love that. So the fact that I got to experience Afrojack back to back Vinny V, or not back to back, like right after, I think, I don't know. The point is I got to experience seeing Afrojack and Vinny Vici at the main stage, front and center, and literally like got enveloped by the music and the feeling and the environment. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And I'm so grateful for my sister and me and my other siblings, because now my siblings rave with me and my cousin. Like now there's a lot of other people who rave, because it's become such a like mainstream thing. And now that they're there, like we always look back, and we always, every time we go with my sister, my older sister is always there. And there isn't one time that we don't stop and give her gratitude, because we always stop and tell her like, dude, if it wasn't for you, like we would not be here. Like that is insane. I wouldn't have met my fiance, because I met my fiance EDC 2019 the following year. And it was just a whole, that's a whole nother story. Again, I'm gonna wait for my boyfriend, because I want to experience and like like share my side and his side of that whole story, because it is honestly my favorite love story ever. And I'm so grateful to call it mine as well. And like knowing that I found my human where I first got introduced to this, like it was just such a full circle moment, and like so like precious. And I'm so excited to share that story time. But I digress. That whole experience was amazing. I did partake in substances allegedly that I had never, and I was very scared to do so. So I only took like a fourth, and I would take like little teeny little baby like crushed pieces, because I was really scared to experience that. And I think I was able to experience it the second day, because the first day I was not comfortable doing any more than like a little tiny piece, and because I was taking so little, I wasn't really feeling much. So the next day I did take a little bit more. But other than that, like I did see like why people would partake in those substances, because it went hand in hand with the stimulation that was going on everywhere. Like the music, you feel it better. I wouldn't say better. Let me rephrase that. The music, you feel it more intensely and more, and like the lights and everything, just the atmosphere overall helps with the experience of feeling that specific substance. And if you know, you know, the MDMA, you know, that little girly. But yeah, so after that, it was just a whole new world, literally. And allegedly, that was an experience that I was like, okay, I see it. But it wasn't like I'm hooked on it, you know, which is something that I appreciated myself. I appreciated for like taking like mindful no and action, just being a little bit more mindful about the substances that I was putting in my body, because gardening was like the only thing that I was comfortable with, because everything else was just like labeled in my brain as hard because of society. And but I did know like gardening was kind of labeled kind of a little bit bad, but like a little more natural. So there was a lot of things for me to like. I was doing research about it because I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, I took it 2 days back to back. When can I take it? Like, what's the damage that does to my brain and all that? And I was doing a lot of research after that fact. So I think that helped being a little bit more cautious with the substances that I was using and doing the research on it because I didn't want to be harming myself either. This is something that I would like to share because it has to do with like what I learned. I was a year into my college experience, and most of my friends went up north to study in their university. I stayed down here in LA, and I was commuting to a further away college because I didn't want to go to Cal State LA. And I fell in love with my college that I went to, and I really wanted to experience like a new environment that was in Cal State LA, that was in LA. So I did bite the bullet and commute a little bit further. And I was doing this commute like 2 to 3 times a week, which was a lot for me, especially not having a car. My dad would take me. It was just like a whole experience. So I was pretty much always at home, and because it was a far commute, I wouldn't really stay on campus for any events or like to socialize or to make friends. To and from the university just for strictly classes. So I didn't really have friends. I didn't really have anyone to socialize with because my friends were nowhere to be found. I wasn't really experiencing any like college like activities like drinking and doing all these things, and especially not having anyone to do them with. So your girl was at home, very depressed. She was very sad. I don't want to say depressed because I don't want to diagnose myself, but I was very sad and lonely, and I was just doing stuff that were creative, which is good because I feel like that's why I didn't get to the point of being depressed. I was very sad and lonely, yes, but thankfully with my little inner child and forever, like I'm literally a child, like you're gonna see, but I'm literally a child. Like I never really let go of my childlike wonder, my childlike creativity and like way of being. Like I still play with the kids here in like my cousins, my nieces, my nephews. Like I still play tag with them. Like I'm like I literally look like I'm 16, 17. So I still kind of fit in and I still get away with doing that. And like people be asking like, what are you, how old are you? You 18, 16? And I'm like, I'm 26. I'm gonna be 27, but I'm over here still holding on to my inner child. Like it's gonna save my life, and it is, and it is, and you'll see later down how it saves lives to connect with your inner child and be in tune with your inner child. And I was always very creative and always finding new hobbies, which is why I have so much stuff along with my hoarder along with a lot of other things, but I do have a lot of hobbies and little creative outlets and things that I have. Like I make jewelry, I craft, I paint, photography, videography, flow. Like I'm just a creative person and I like to create stuff. And thankfully, around that time that I was lonely and sad, I had all of these outlets. I was just in my room, just creating stuff and doing things, even though no one was looking at them, even though I wasn't sharing them. Like I was making stuff and creating for myself. And it was just a way to keep me sane. And it did keep me sane, thankfully, until raving came along a year after. After that, I was hooked and I was like, dude, I don't have the partying like lifestyle. I don't get to experience my college like 20s. Like, I'm not gonna waste my life just being sad. Like, I need to go out there and experience the world. And this was the perfect outlet for me to really share who I was and socialize and just see the world honestly and experience and like live this life to the fullest. And that just really opened that whole can of worms, that whole world for me. And it was just something that I really needed, and I didn't know I needed that specifically, but it really helped a lot with my social anxiety. In college, I was literally always to myself. I never talked to anyone unless they talked to me, and it was very rare where they did talk to me, but sometimes they did. But when it comes to like projects and stuff like that, like I was always to myself. Like I was never the one to reach out to anyone or to talk or say anything. And it was something that I had even like anxiety attacks in university during class, or like from class to class, and it was something that I struggled with because of how I feel like I was like, first of all, my high school experience was not the best. It was not the worst, but sophomore year into senior year, like it was a little bit hard on myself in terms of like bullying and self-image and heartbreak, and it was just like a whole lot of things that really added to like the way I perceived myself and the way I viewed the world. Social anxiety was just something that came out of that whole experience and like my life until college and even in college. So my self image was just not there, and my self esteem, and because I was at home alone, that's when like the wax pins were getting popular too. So I was gardening a lot by myself, and I was eating my life away because I was sad and lonely, and I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't going out. I wasn't really doing exercise. So I was just very chunky, and I was just not in the best self image. And because of the fact that I was sad and lonely, and I was gaining weight, and it was just something that really like lowered my self-esteem. Although I was able to express myself in the comfort of my own home and with my family, expressing myself externally or to anyone else was something that I struggled with, and it was something that I felt I would get made fun of, because I have gotten made fun of previously in high school, middle school, elementary, for like being myself, and or just doing other stuff. Like bullying was like a thing, and I feel like we've all experienced it, but it is something that I was scared to do. And I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that I was able to, with social anxiety, I was able to see and express myself and see other people expressing themselves so freely with others and sharing and like being themselves and really expressing themselves through their outfits and through their makeup and just being authentically themselves at this community based environment with like music and like beautiful humans. Like it was just such a great and a place that really opened the door for me stepping into walking in that same footstep of being more socially engaging and less anxious, and just really building my self image and knowing my worth and really expressing myself to the fullest, and also having self-compassion, because that's something that I feel like I was looked over when I first started raving, and I couldn't really distinguish what it was. But seeing how many people have compassion for others that are strangers, and how they were also just very forgiving for themselves in terms of the way they would do something, and like they wouldn't really play it off or like be like self-deprecating or anything. It was something that they were very self-compassionate about, and that helped me be more compassionate towards myself and towards others, knowing that if we just take care of ourselves, like it'll be like we got I got a view of like what like perfect world would be like, because I didn't experience any nasty things like when I went to EDC, besides the phone getting lost. It wasn't even stolen, but like it was lost. I don't know what happened to it. Like it probably was stolen over, but it wasn't like grabbed from us, so it wasn't anything to that extent yet. So it wasn't where we were experiencing anything bad at the raves, besides the undercover cops, which we already knew were like F the ops, because they're not really there for our security sometimes. And by sometimes I mean all the times. Look at what's happening in the world. They're abusing their power. But that's another story. That's another topic. But so yeah, like it's something that I forgot what I was talking about. Oh my god. What was I talking about for real though? It literally showed me a view of like what a perfect world would be like if we were able to perfectly express ourselves, not be anxious about who we are, not have any judgment towards ourselves and others, and like be compassionate and helping of others who are struggling, and be a helping hand, be a ear to hear their rant, and like just show up for our community and for one another and ourselves in a way that is healthy and beneficial for everyone. that is something that I got a glimpse of, and it was just such a beautiful thing that made me carry that out into the real world, and it made me want to share that with the whole world and everyone that I knew. So I was sharing with people how my experience went and like wanting to get people into that, but a lot of people were still kind of like iffy. I didn't really get anyone to go with me. My best friends did go with me. They were kind of iffy about it still, even after the fact, but they got a little gist of what it was. But regardless, like it is something that literally changed my life, and it just really helped with like the overall judgment. Like I was able to dance like nobody was watching, and I already was pretty like in tune with like dancing because my family, both my parents and like my family are dancers. Like we hear music and we're vibing, we're bopping, we got rhythm, like we're there. But the fact that we were able to do that in public around other people and like not feel any type of way and just dance like nobody's watching literally, and also see other people dancing like nobody's watching, and it just makes you happy. It makes you like feel so happy for them that they're able to express themselves so freely, and it makes you want to follow in the footsteps too and just dance like nobody's watching, because nobody is watching. Everyone's just lost in the music and into their own little thing. And now I do see like a lot more people judging and like, being a little bit not dancing as much, and like that's totally fine because they're on their own journey, they're on their own path. However, it's still the same thing, like knowing that you have to like taking inspiration from every single person in their own way. And that's something that I realized recently on my last trip to San Francisco to watch Lane 8, my favorite artist of all time. I got to experience that, how we can easily just take inspiration, good or bad. Like we can take inspiration of people dancing freely and like wanting to do the same thing, and taking that inspiration from someone else that you saw dancing so freely and wanting to do that yourself. Or in the opposite side of it, you can also see how someone was judging someone else and take inspiration from not doing that. You take what resonates and you leave what doesn't, or you take how you do or don't want to show up in this world as you see in your surrounding environment. So if you see someone judging and you realize like that doesn't really feel too wow and it doesn't feel like something that I would like to do, take that into your inner guidance and note that, and just in the future don't judge someone else. Don't judge someone else. And that's just basically what you have to do with everything in life. Like take inspiration, see if it resonates with how and who you want to be. And if it does, then take it and do as you will with that. And then if not, then let it go. And again, like that's just the way that you can take inspiration from everyone and everything around you. And that's exactly what happened at my first rave. Like I got so inspired, I got so fulfilled and just so mind blown. Honestly, after that it was just nonstop going to every event, every festival. Like I was in college, I was not working, I had money, like I was just like living life to the fullest. So I was like, yeah. And then I met my beautiful best friend, Jocelyn, and I want her to be on the podcast so bad, because she was such a key component of my self growth, because she came into my life around the same time that my boyfriend came into my life, and it was just honestly life changing to have both of them like in my life, and just a big part of like my raving experience and my overall growth. But this is here to say the rave community is something that is like no other. You get a glimpse of the future and you get to really experience what it's like to live in a compassionate, loving world, even though it is a little bit oversaturated right now. And there's more people coming into the environment and not knowing what the rave community is like or what it's for, what it's rooted in. It is those of us who already know and like get the gist of the community and the vibes and the guidelines that are here to share and help those and educate those who don't know any better or who are not in that mindset. Like it is up to us to share and give them the love that they don't have, who are not necessarily open to receiving, and really be there for them and be compassionate towards them. And I know it's hard because again, we like to point fingers at people, but we have to be compassionate and helping on one another and be united more than anything, because that's how we change the world. That's how we change the world. But I hope you can get something from this experience of mine. I know I learned a lot from it, and it literally opened up a whole new world. And I hope if you're in the same shoes where you just went to your first event or you're about to go to your first event, keep an open mind and really share the love and be open to receiving love and giving love, because it will change you and it will literally take you so many places if you're open to receiving and open to giving love and being open-minded to everything that happens, besides, again, things that are within your boundary. Like if you have boundary, like set that boundary and communicate it. But other than that, if you're open and you're willing to receive and give, it will just continue giving. It will just you will just you'll be very fulfilled and abundant in this space. So happy raving. I hope you stay a while and be a part of this community that I'm trying to grow here. Forever unfolding. Hopefully you can unfold with us. If you like this or got anything or feel like anyone would benefit from this video, please like and share to your friends, family, loved ones. And let me know in the comments below what your first rave experience was like, or if you liked it or didn't like it. I would love to hear from people who did not like it or had a different experience. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye, guys.